So I slept on the idea of the universe interfering with what will be the last conversation that I posted. It was yesterday for me. I slept on the idea of the universe limiting my conversation. And while that's possible, I realized that every time the universe has typically interfered, like every time I feel like I'm trying to do something and then there's been some sort of inexplicable outside interference with it, it has usually just been a redirection to get me to focus, like shift my focus a little bit. So it's possible that that interference was specifically to get me to talk about the things that I was talking about yesterday. And so to test that theory, I would like to go back to what I was saying, the conversation that they weren't letting me have, or it wasn't letting me have. I want to go back to that to see if I am able to now relay that message, since I got that part communicated. I don't know. That sounded so weird. Hopefully you'll understand what I'm saying. I'm sort of worried about communicating this, honestly. Like, if I end up posting this, that's what this trouble is. Because if this was just for me, I would just say it. As a human being, we have a very limited framework that we can maybe understand this with. All right, let me bring up this first, as like this, just to kind of set the stage here for this conversation, or this idea, this whatever. There are some autistic people, and some people who are not autistic probably, who have no interest in romantic relationships. And to those of us who do want to seek out romantic relationships, that seems like really sad and really depressing, but we're having that opinion based on our framework, based on our understanding and the things that we want for ourselves, and we're not putting ourselves in that other person's shoes. Because if we were, we would understand that that person doesn't need that to feel happy. Like, that's not a requirement in that person's happiness. So that being said, the thing that I keep thinking about, and the thing that I haven't been able to talk about on camera twice now, was thinking about, if I were the universe, if I were this ever expanding being with no limitations, how fast would I get bored? I think that I would get bored very fast. And imagining, like, trying to remove myself from this ego and putting myself in the shoes of the idea of this other being, now looking at this life that I've had, as difficult as it has sometimes been, through the eyes of that being, this kind of seems exhilarating, kind of seems exciting, kind of like getting onto a roller coaster that's scary, but then when you get off, you're like, oh, that was so much fun. So it's kind of like my life is entertainment. And if I was at some other point in my life, I would feel kind of like I would be angry, like thinking that was what the point of my life was to entertain the universe. It would have made me angry. But the interesting part of that anger is not understanding that we're not separate, that this me is not separate from that me who is experiencing this. So it's not even angry at the universe, it's angry at myself, my higher self. I don't know if anybody's following that, but it really just made, like, thinking about what it would be like to fully be me, to fully be my whole self that is this ever expanding universe, I can see why. I mean, when we play video games, we're hooking up to a world that has all these limitations. And if we played a game that there were no limitations, you could build anything, you could think anything into being, how fast would you get bored? How fast? So in a way, it's kind of in line with the concepts that we're in a simulation. Yeah, I at first when I started thinking about this, it was only just a few weeks ago, honestly. I thought, when I really try to put myself in the shoes of that, of the universe, or the idea I have of the universe, I don't know if anybody else is going to be able to relate to this, but it just felt so depressing. It felt depressing to not have a point, to not have a goal, to not have a destination, to not have, like, what is the point of infinity? We'll see. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this. We'll see. I think I will be able to actually be able to play this back. I really do think that I was being redirected, not necessarily for the sake of sharing that, those psychic experiences that I've had with you, but to draw my attention back to it, so that, because I really definitely need to work on integrating that part of myself, because it's hard for me to accept. It's hard for me to accept as somebody who didn't believe in any of that sort of thing for decades. So I think that's probably something that you're going to get to see, is me learning to accept that. That's a little bit scary for me, but I'm the bravest person I know, so we'll get to it.